Unless you've been living under a rock, and in this case I don't mean an ETH rock, you know who the Chinese refer to as V-God. That's right, V-God is Vitalik Buterin. Now, Vitalik recently made some comments at ETH Denver about how he is worried about the future of crypto, and we're going to see exactly why he made these statements and eventually became the cover of Time Magazine's self-proclaimed first fully decentralized magazine, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense as Time Magazine is a very centralized corporation, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about V-God's comments on the future of crypto and why he's so worried. To get an understanding of where Vitalik is coming from, we must first understand how he was raised. Vitalik grew up in what was formerly the USSR, and he had a first-hand account of the USSR falling alongside all the financial institutions and their currency devolving into nothing. Almost the same as what we see happening to the Russian ruble today. As all of this was going down, he also happened to have a love for computing. Programming and coding were at the forefront of his interests. Now, as he grew up, he began writing articles for a crypto magazine, earning around 5 Bitcoin per article. What back then was worth around $4 today would be worth almost a couple $100,000. Being one of the people who was very early into crypto, he saw a massive potential alongside his love for coding and programming. This gave him incentive and a drive and passion to create a currency that could grow alongside its human counterpart and thrive regardless of what was going on in the world. This is somewhat reminiscent to him watching his own currency devolve as the USSR fell. He wanted to make something that could hedge against this possibility. And that is what led the 19-year-old Buterin to create the Ethereum blockchain and its counterpart, the Ether cryptocurrency. While the possibilities seem limitless for cryptocurrency, there's a bit of potential that Buterin is worried around the Ethereum blockchain and cryptocurrency as a whole. Believing that crypto is becoming more and more political, which of course it is, governments have been scrambling to try and figure out how to regulate or centralize what is meant to be a decentralized currency. Buterin is worried about what he calls not only the good crazy but also the bad crazy when it comes to crypto's potential. While worrying that government regulation and centralization could ruin the potential that crypto has, that is not Vitalik's only and main concern around the crypto, Ethereum, and investing space as a whole. He also has a focus on what is going on in the NFT space as well, as many of these NFTs, specifically the Bored Ape Yacht Club, is centralized on his Ethereum blockchain and can be bought and sold using his cryptocurrency, Ether. On his speaking points, Buterin made it somewhat clear that he is not a close ally of the NFTs that are hosted on his Ethereum blockchain, going as far as to say that these NFTs are simply a new form of gambling. Now, he also seems to show somewhat of a distaste for people that go around flaunting their high dollar NFTs, showing somewhat of a disgust for a $2 million ape being flaunted, saying that people are just showing these as icons and symbols, going around buying yachts and Lambos, making it seem like an easy investment for newcomers, whereas many newcomers, actually around 90% of new NFT investors, go broke. Vitalik also speaks quite harshly around DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations. In this, he says that the point of these NFTs, cryptocurrencies, and the blockchain as a whole is to be decentralized. However, in these decentralized organizations, if you have a group of whales or a singular whale that buys up the majority of the supply, whether that be a token, a coin, or an NFT, you essentially have a decentralized organization with voting rights to each holder, wherein the majority holder would get the majority of votes. A decentralized organization would now be centralized around the interests of these majority holders. This is a serious problem for DAOs and one that hasn't been covered in any extent, but I feel personally that this centralization of DAOs with majority holders and these whales or groups of whales is something that is going to kind of put a dent in the progress that we're making. So let's break down his worries. Essentially, Vitalik grew up watching the fall of his currency and the fall of the USSR. He wanted to build something that could thrive no matter what was going on, and a decentralized cryptocurrency was the perfect way to do that, as it is just that. It is decentralized. There is no centralized control, and there are no promises backing it. He's worried about the rise of NFTs and the wealth that many people are flaunting, saying that it could be worrisome that new investors get in and hedge a large amount of their wealth into these NFTs, only to see it go to zero and lose absolutely everything. He's also worried about these decentralized organizations becoming more centralized and majority holders basically sharing their interests as they're voting. And since they hold the majority of the votes, their interests are going to be the ones that are catered to, making what was supposed to be decentralized more centralized than it should be. He's also worried about political agendas and governments coming in and taking over what he sees as the people's currency, a truly decentralized currency that no one entity has control of, not even himself, not even his government, not any government. As a matter of fact, he's worried about that overreach and basically seeing what he went through as a kid in the USSR and the physical currency that they had. He's worried about seeing that happen to cryptocurrency as well. I think these three concerns are well thought out, and they are actual threats to this space, especially the centralization of cryptocurrency itself. Also, if the promises that people have made through cryptocurrency and this somewhat of a utopia or free space that has been promised, if it is not put together fast enough or quick enough and people FUD it too hard, they are more likely to turn to some of these centralized options that I'm sure will be put out in the soon to come future. What are your concerns about cryptocurrency, NFTs, and DAOs? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree with his concerns and worries? Do you disagree? Let me know why. No matter what, never stop hustling.